Hi, I'm Pete. I'm here at a primary school today to read one of our Twinkl Originals to a group of children. Let's hope they enjoy it. So I'm Pete. I work for Twinkl. Twinkl make lots of things for schools. One of the things we make is books. If you'd like to read along, that's great. It's on page 1. If you'd like to just listen, that's fantastic as well. Chapter 1, Jada Lovelace. Jada Kaneko had been just 3¼ years old when her extraordinary talent for computer coding was first discovered. With her dainty, heart-shaped face and dimpled cheeks, Jada's mum had thought it only right to dress Jada like a princess. From the moment she was born, Jada was put in frilly dresses and pink shoes to match. Much to her mum's delight, people would stop her in the supermarket to coo over how cute Jada looked. Christmases and birthdays brought a steady stream of dolls and unicorns. Then one day Jada decided enough was enough. Nobody had expected it whatsoever when the little bright-eyed toddler, still surrounded by mountains of wrapping paper, had taken a mini screwdriver from one of the Christmas crackers and successfully reprogrammed a new singing unicorn. Gigi, her grandfather, nearly spat out his turkey when the unicorn called him a rude name instead of singing a nursery rhyme. While the other adults in the room had looked surprised, Jada's grandmother, Baba, had worn a different expression on her face. Her dark eyes had sparkled with wonder. Perhaps it was because she saw herself in Jada. After moving from Japan to England at the age of just 19, she had finally achieved her dream of opening her own electrical repair shop just a few years before Jada was born. Baba had worked there until she retired last year and passed it to its new owners, fixing everything from vacuum cleaners to computers. So from that Christmas onwards, Jada had been nicknamed Jada Lovelace, after the first ever computer programmer, Ada Lovelace. The lacy dresses she had never liked were swapped for more practical outfits, and dolls were replaced with toy toolkits. Each week, Jada would count the hours until Sunday afternoon, when Mum would take her to visit Baba's shop. She would sit on her grandmother's lap, watching in awe as her nimble finger tinkered with wires and brought broken machines back to life. Baba was like a magician. Jada wanted to be just like her. Now, all these years later, Jada wasn't just visiting Baba anymore. It had already been 6 months since she and her older brother Daniel had come to live with Baba and Gigi. Their grandparents had told them that they would only stay there until Mum was well enough to look after them again. Although Jada loved being able to spend so much time with Baba, she missed Mum terribly. On top of that, life in Willington felt very different from her home in London. Everything here was slow and quiet. Jada longed for the buzzing streets and the roar of the tube trains. After a while, Baba and Gigi had decided Jada needed a new project. One Friday evening, they'd shuffled into Jada's room, treading carefully to avoid the stacks of boxes that had been slowly taking over the small bedroom she shared with her brother. Crammed into each cardboard box were old toys and electrical parts that Jada had been collecting for her own inventions. Jada-chan, Baba had said in a soft Japanese accent, "We were wondering if you'd like to move all of these boxes to the garage. It could be your own special place to experiment." Jada had jumped at the chance. It had taken an entire weekend of cobweb sweeping, rubbish dumping and shelf building, but when they'd finished, it was perfect. Now Jada had her very own workshop. Today, as she unlocked the side door of the weathered building at the end of their garden, Jada's excitement still hadn't faded. The small room looked more like a cluttered cave than a garage. From floor to ceiling, it was stuffed with Jada's trinkets and equipment Baba had kept from her repair shop. Long timber shelves lined the walls, straining under the weight of their shared treasures. Old circuit boards were stacked up like pancakes. Large computer monitors were neatly arranged in rows, and hundreds of batteries were carefully organized in baskets. Stretching along the back wall was the wooden worktop that Baba and Jada used to sit at together every Sunday afternoon. Fastened tightly to the brick wall above it were Baba's treasured tools. Brushing her dark fringe from her eyes, Jada ducked to avoid some cobwebs and crossed the room towards a battered filing cabinet. She slid open the top drawer and closed her hand around a small object, barely larger than a matchbox. She grinned down at the tiny green circuit board, bursting with silver ports and pins. This was her greatest treasure of all. Baba had given her the little microcomputer just a few months ago on her 10th birthday. Jada had quickly discovered that you could use it to do just about anything. But her favourite pastime is playing practical jokes. After all, it helped make life in sleepy Willington a little bit more exciting. The first opportunity had come at Halloween, when she'd programmed a trolley carrying a skeleton to burst out of Mrs. Garcia's cupboard right in the middle of a maths test. Her poor teacher had turned as pale as the skeleton's bones. Then, just before Christmas, Jada had used her microcomputer to drop fake snow from the classroom ceiling. The children had been finding snowflakes for days afterwards, and apparently Nasir Yassin had even found some in his underpants. Jada's favourite trick of all was when she connected her computer to a sensor on Mr. Freckleton's chair. The moment his bottom touched the seat, which happened to be at the start of a very serious meeting, a speaker played a loud noise that sounded like somebody breaking wind. Jada was delighted when she overheard the office manager saying that Mr. Freckleton had blamed it on the school dog. Now, Jada had a reputation to keep. Today's trick had to be the best of all. Quickly but carefully, she slipped her precious microcomputer into her school bag, along with a rubber chicken, a pot of green slime, and the remote-controlled truck she had spent the weekend working on. Then she launched herself back across the frosty grass and burst into the galley kitchen, hurriedly throwing off her wellies at the door. Hearing the commotion, Baba appeared in the living room doorway, her smiling eyes glittering like jewels. Somehow she always seemed to sparkle. Her silky black hair was carefully brushed into a bob, and she was wearing a pink blouse embroidered with golden roses. Baba was always dressed in flowers. She even smelt like a spring garden. For just a moment, her gaze hovered at Jada's school bag. But if she had noticed the suspicious shapes bulging out from each side, she chose not to say anything. "Have a good day, Jada Lovelace," Baba said with a wink, squeezing Jada's hands once she had placed her lunchbox onto them. Before she had a chance to say anything more, Gigi poked his head round the door. "About time, let's get going," he called in his husky voice. Gigi pulled his favourite red hat over his greying hair and wriggled into a huge puffer jacket, which he usually only wore at the weekend for football training. Gigi had coached the local junior teams for years, so their house was bursting at the seams with trophies, and there was usually a large bag of balls in their back garden. With a huff, Daniel tore himself away from a thick book and plodded towards the door. Tall and long-legged, her brother was almost as tall as Gigi at the age of just 13. Pushing her feet quickly into her school shoes, Jada clutched her bag to her chest, followed them out into the icy winter morning. If everything went to plan, today would go down in history. Need a chapter 1, go down in history. Well, Jada's got a reputation to keep. What do we mean by that, reputation to keep, do you think? Reputation. You know what reputation is? Okay.
Like, if you do something and like admit it.
Yeah, like that, exactly. If you're known for something. So Jada, what's Jada's reputation? What's she known as? We heard a lot of the things she did in that chapter. What does she do a lot at school?
And prank the teachers.
Prank the teachers. So her reputation is as a bit of a prankster, yeah. Not only a bit of a prankster. Can anyone remember what the really, really important, precious thing that she's got that Baba gave to her? About the size of a matchbox. Silver blobs. It's a bit of a complicated word, do you know?
They get the right.
Yeah, microcomputer. So everything that's got a computer that works inside it has got a little chipboard, a little microcomputer inside. And she's got that, and she's figured out you can program it to do everything. Now, there's some lovely things you could use a microcomputer to program. Can anyone think, what would use a microcomputer? I'll start off. Your phone has got a microcomputer. Anything else electrical around us?
iPad.
iPad, yeah. Great one. PS5, definitely. Yeah. Switch, yeah. All got microcomputers. Believe it or not, your cars have got them as well. Most of them. And even things like kettles, I think, nowadays, although I've not got a kettle with a microcomputer, but they're so small, you can do anything with them. But Jada, clever as she is, she uses her knowledge and her power over microcomputers for pranks. So, yeah, she made the... well, the one I'm remembering is she made the thing that made a sound a bit like a breaking wind. And when Mr. Freckleton sat on it, she programmed it to make a skeleton jump out the cupboard. And so at the end of the chapter, we realise she's taken her microcomputer to school. She's planning something, and if everything went down today, everything went to plan, today will go down in history. It's a little clue the page before about what her plan might be for today. I wonder if you guys can think of anything. It said, after it said she had a reputation to keep, it said she packed her school bag with the microcomputer, a rubber chicken, a pot of green slime, microcomputer, rubber chicken, pot of green slime, remote control truck. What is she planning with that? What do you think?
Maybe she's gonna put the rubber chicken on through the truck and drive it around and it's gonna spit out cream.
Yeah, that is a great idea. Yeah, I think that's definitely something like that, isn't it? You know, the funny thing is, so we've got one of our writers on our team called Jenny. She wrote this, somebody called Jenny Clare. And I worked with Jenny when we were starting the book, but then she went and wrote it. And sometimes I even forget. And I can't actually remember what she does with that rubber chicken. But I think your idea is almost bang on there. What finally then do you think has Cato and the little eye and the thing that the man put in the box in the Emporium, what's that all got to do with Jada, do you think? Can anyone see where this book's going to go, where the story might go?
That'd be from a grandma's shop.
Could be a grandma's shop. That's a great idea, actually, isn't it? Definitely. Could be her grandma's shop. Do we think looking at the back, Jada might find that same box that the man put back?
Really?
Boom. And let's not forget it said, what did it say about it? What did we decide? The man had owned it. It was coming to the end of his turn, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the end of his turn. Do you think Jada's going to get a turn with it? Possibly. Yeah, nice. Bit more. All good.
I'll let somebody stop to waste it.
Yeah.
And who's going to speak per time? And they join their players.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, listen, we're running out of time a little bit, but you have all now got this book. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope that prologue and the first chapter really piqued your interest to read the end. And we'd love to know what you think if you manage to finish the book and find out if our predictions were right. So you've got this book. And also, once you've read the book, it'd be interesting to see if that sparks any ideas in your own head about STEM, science, technology, engineering, maths, anything you think you could start creating. Because the nice thing about this is actually, you know, I was talking about science fiction being real or fantasy. The idea that you can make anything you like out of technology and takes a bit of practice and learning, but you learn what to do with microcomputers, you can kind of make anything you like with those as well. So hopefully that's piqued your interest for the book, but also got you a little bit interested in STEM as well. Fantastic. All good? Yeah, that's it. Enjoy it. Just